don't know if you know her, Anna Masila. She also went to Limuru. So she was really good in Ruby. When I met her, she has, I think, either completed high school or she was in the university. I'm not so sure. But she joined Andela and then everything else happened. So when you say people are doing JavaScript, then for sure, I agree with you. There are some guys who are...
I know, and I feel like it really defined and it really created this difference, especially now when you come to university. But I know this is now jumping the gun. There were people who had already had a head start.
Exactly.
Because I remember there's someone in my class who used JavaScript, and I'm like, I struggled with macros. You were using JavaScript. Okay, I didn't even know that was an option. Exactly, I didn't even know that was an option. So
there are people actually. You should not assume things. There are people who also have instructors at home.
For sure.
Like maybe your dad says, "Okay, here is a guy I'll be paying maybe for the next 3 months over the holiday." By the way, this is when I actually need to give a disclaimer for those who are listening. So if you are on holiday, like most of you are, and you're returning in September, don't think everyone is just chilling and watching Netflix as you do. There are people who actually right now are taking courses in Java, JavaScript, music, piano, guitar, and everything else. Python, yes, as you said. People are participating actively in hackathons,
for sure.
building stuff, meeting people, networking. So not everyone who is waiting to get a degree now to start looking for a job. People are really out here doing amazing, and I've seen them in the hackathon. And people are doing some amazing stuff.
Exactly.
So I'll tell everyone across the country, across the continent, wherever it is. I know most people go to school, go for holidays. Maybe even you're not lucky to go to high school. Don't give up. There are some colleges you can do packages. Then you understand how to type in a computer. There are so many videos online. There's documentation nowadays. Most of the books, actually, computer programming books, are available on PDF online. So it's a matter of your interest and also being out there. At the end of the day, there's nothing wrong that can go when you're out there. And now that comes back to me. So my first computer, I was in first year. When I just showed up, it was like desktop. University there's only desktop. But my first computer was in second year, second semester. We just had 2 semesters per year. And that's when I got to own a small Acer. Maybe you guys know how small Acer looks like. And that Acer actually was destroyed by so many guys because I used to charge it. It didn't keep the charge long. It was like when it's full, like 1.5 hours. When I'm like
busy
in the thick of it,
when it's doing the work, running partition Linux, maybe 1 hour max. So I used to keep it charging, and in school normally there are no extensions that are really. But I know, of course, I used to run more. They have figured out that you don't need to have socket on the walls. So people used to pass with that wire, and then my computer used to fly.
Wow. Oh no.
After 1 year, it just died on me. Literally died. Like such nothing could be done. I went to the fundi. He was like, do you want to sell the screen? Can you imagine? Everything else is dead. I can give you 2 Gs. Because here, alternatively, replacing the motherboard is like buying another
one, for sure.
And that time, that's when I actually started thinking deeply about me as a computer scientist. I did computer science. What is the most important investment in my life? And I think this is a question I would pose to anyone who is doing anything. And I realized the most important investment in my life is the tool that I use every day. And that's why, for me, my computers is like, it's better be the best that there is in the market. Because that's my tool. When I see people play around with what they use every day, I'm like, are you serious? Like, this is what you use like every single day. I would rather not have a TV or anything fancy. I might be sleeping on the floor, but what I'm using, the tool that I'm using, it's better be really working. Because from that experience, I realized if this tool dies, and I have a project as an entrepreneur, because actually I did entrepreneurship for a long time, then of course
everything comes
I'm done. And Nairobi has a way of telling you, see ya. Very easy. And our home is not Thika, so returning might not be the easiest.
Might not be the easiest option.
Yes. So that, sorry, sometimes
okay.
I give my story to just give the context.
Please do.
But of course, Limuru, I don't want to call it girls, but Limuru, Loreto, girls Limuru, right? That's the right one. So I've seen a couple of guys come from there who are really good with the. And I wanted to know, do you guys also learn programming in school, in high school?
In high school.
Or you have to self-teach yourself?
Unless they started now, we didn't have that.
Of course, the person I'm talking about is older than you, so there's no
exactly,
way
so
they
there
could
was
have
no way.
started. Yeah. So you said you didn't like biology. So of course that means being a doctor was not that
Out of the picture for a very long time.
and this is interesting because I realized that also biology makes girls understand themselves more. To some extent.
Okay.
Because for us, in those classes, we are so uncomfortable because we're hearing things that we don't want to hear.
Oh yeah, makes
But
sense.
ladies are like, now this makes sense.
Now they have questions.
You see, and especially for men or boys or gentlemen in school, especially when that subject is taught by a lady, it's not the easiest. Because for a lady, there are things that she'll be saying and she doesn't want to joke around so that you don't take it lightly.
Yeah, for sure.
But when it's a man, sometimes you will tell us more. And it becomes interesting. So the question here for me is it's very interesting to hear. The first lady I've had, biology was not to me. And by the way, you're very, maybe it might be the first 10 minutes, you're like, in high school biology. So please tell us more. Why was it not that fascinating?
I think it's okay, first and foremost, for things not to work out
True,
from the first, you know?
You have spoken like an engineer.
So I remember, I think the first few classes, I remember we had this class where we were being taught about mitochondria, the likes. And that just went above my head. I could not for the life of me understand why it had a different, and it was such a small thing, but I just didn't understand why it had a different pronunciation in plural. And I think, I don't know, I have a feeling I had an attitude with my teacher, my biology teacher in Form 1.
Was he a man or?
A lady, it was a lady. I had an attitude with her. So I remember there's a time, I can't remember what we were supposed to be doing at the lab, and I'm a very sensitive person to touch. I'm very, very sensitive with touch. So anything small that touches me, I want to wash my hands. I don't even like this. You see the way you're cooking and you're having things on your hand, I don't like that. Exactly, I keep on washing. So I remember at the lab, we were doing something and iodine had spilled on me. So I decided, let me just go wash my hand. And she made a very interesting comment. She was like, nyinyi watu wa kuosha mikono. I was like, okay.
Nimefikiwa.
Say less. Say less. I was busy minding my business. And just something very, very small. And I actually think about it sometimes and I'm just like, it wasn't anything major, but at the time, 15-year-old me, it was a big thing. She felt it. So I think just became a compounded problem for me. So I carried on the attitude from first year, from Form 1 rather, till Form 2. And I remember just when we were going to drop the subjects is when I started liking it.
What made you like it?
We had this class, something to do with blood groups or something.
Yeah.
I found it very interesting about stress as positive and stress as negative and the likes. I found it very, very interesting. And we were going to drop the subject the next week. So I sat down with myself and I'm like, I liked this lesson.
And was it the same teacher all the way?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't the same teacher.
Then that's very interesting.
It was.
So what was the problem with the second teacher?
The second teacher was actually okay.
Yeah.
So,
but already you had.
I had already clocked out. I clocked out. I keep on saying I clocked out in Form 1. I just clocked out of biology class. There was no saving me. There really was no saving me. So I found it interesting. But I remember sitting down with myself and asking. I'm just saying, this was one class out of X that I've had previously. I've not liked the other classes, having liked this one class is not a guarantee that I like all the rest. Because I remember we had a fight, if I can so call it like that, with my mom. Because she wants me to do biology. Because we had a trend of doing 3 sciences. You remember the 3 sciences girls? Yes, the 3 sciences girls.
Oh, those one are like a class.
So it was a whole cloud. It was like a whole...
There's just some power that comes. You
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Oh.
It was...
some of our schools.
Oh,
it was a
okay, I
bit
did 3 sciences, but it's okay.
Did you do 3 sciences?
Yes, I did.
You see?
Ah.
Say like, need I say more? Need I say more?
Yeah, being calm.
She has said it.
Minding my own business.
Say it.
Doing
To
3
the whole-
sciences.
to the whole
like nothing is
class.
happening.
It was called lots.
And passing all of them.
It was.
Not just passing, really passing.
Okay.
If you say something, I see your words, not mine.
So yeah, I didn't like it, but I think, and something I learned from an early age. Early is relative, but from then, it's being okay with the choices you've made and being okay with trying something and not liking it, and saying, you know what, it's fine, it's okay. We're not going to be all engineers or all doctors or all exes, and it's okay. And living and being okay with that choice.
And at this particular point, you had made your mind like chemistry, physics, math. These one look alike. There is a lot of correlation, and they make a lot of sense.
They do,
mathematically mostly. So you are kind of a logical person.
More or less, yes.
Yeah?
Actually, yes.
Yeah. And by the way, you have said a very important thing that I think anyone in high school, primary should actually grab if is a lady. That sometimes ladies know that they are not good in science. And we've had these debates, STEM specifically, science. It's science what? Science,
Technology, engineering, and math.
But basically scientific stuff and math. It's some of the things that actually have pointed out directly that this one attitude started like, this is it, like, I'm trying to be me here and I'm not allowed to be me. And I've seen that with a lot of people. And even when I was doing math, I went to like 2 schools. The first school, the teacher was an examiner, and for you to be an examiner, you're really good at what you do.
Sure.
But he never took us serious because the school I was in the first time.
Please say the name kindly. Worry not. No shame here.
It's not a school that you know or you'll never know. But it's not a shame or anything, but they don't deserve my credits.
Oh, okay.
They don't. So
That's the second one too.
This school was apparently a provincial school. But it was not provincial in actuality. Like on ground, it wasn't. Because one, they took like 5-10 students who performed provincial level. And then the rest were like, this is a son of DO because he's a neighbor or son of a chief, just put them there. People with D's, E's, So even as a teacher, you're demotivated. But because it was a board of governors kind of run school where sometimes even some of the teachers are paid by the board of governors, then of course you have to play ball because, we own this school. Otherwise, you are the visitor. You need to treat us well. But of course, as a result, someone even ends up like, treating you not so serious. So there, if you didn't really work hard, nothing happened. Actually, you did not even expect anything to happen. And when you say that some of this aspect of teacher-student relation actually makes people give up, I also see it in when we do hackathons and stuff like that, whereby someone comes with some entitlement. Straight up, like, I'm expecting this. But also again, someone comes and they have that trauma of like, what if I ask a question? If I wash my hands, how will I be treated? And I think we need to move away from that because as Africans, we have been traumatized for long. That's why actually we are doing these podcasts. That's one of the idea to just address some of the things that actually limit us, that are beyond us. And one of those things is the trauma. And trauma actually can address in different ways. One is that to accept that we are really good. 2 is that we have our own weakness. And 3, letting go, as you said. Saying that, okay, maybe biology is not me. And me, I'm not biology. Right? And maybe I'm good with physics. Just dig deep and, build rockets. But anyway, the point here is that, especially for girls, is that I feel like if we give them a chance and allow them to be them, we could see an amazing stuff, because I've seen a couple of really good engineers, lady engineers, even at the T, in the community, and they end up actually becoming the best, to say the least. But for those who require special attention, sometimes it doesn't really work out, because, of course, your expectations are not met or something. You feel like, maybe this is not my space. And I've ever had so many people say, hey, I want a safe space. Until today, I always try to understand what is that safe space. Because safe space can mean two things. You're either treated in a special way, but not getting the right content and deal, because science is hard. Let's not lie about it. Science is really hard, and you need really to love it and be curious enough to understand. Or safe space might mean to be you, and also to be given a chance to really dig deep. I love the second part, whereby, and that one actually you can create yourself. Like, once you learn something, you go ahead and investigate about it, build something around it, understand more about it, and so on and so forth. But that's my take, right? So going forward, were you monolized?
Sorry?
Were you monolized?
Was I monolized?
You know what monolized means?
Wow. Yes.
Or bullying. That's what people call. But I don't feel like it should be bullying, because bullying is a whole total different thing.
It is bullying.
Okay. All right.
Subliminal or not, it is bullying.
Okay. Were you
Was I monolized?
Yes and no. Don't give us that answer.
No. It's a tough question. It's a tough question, because the reason why I was monolized was not the traditional reason as to, you're just a Form 1, you're being monolized. I was monolized for something else. And I'm not even sure it's being monolized. By and large, I can say I was bullied subtly for a while. Yeah.
Especially for the first
1.5 semesters, 1.5 terms.
Terms. In Form 1. And how did you deal with that?
How did I deal with that? If I'm being honest, I actually broke down.
Okay.
I became hysterical. It was, I think what I was trying to say is, there was the instigator of this, and I had history outside of Lorenzo. Yes. There was history.
Oh, it's someone you knew.
Yeah, it's not someone you knew. It's someone whom we shared a connection with. So this history then was brought into high school, right? So I realized, and the worse it became, I became hysterical. At a point of actually going to therapy and being sent home.
But was that serious?
It was bad.
Yeah.
But it was just like an iceberg kind of moment. You know, that a thing that just tips you off, but it's not the reason why. There was underlying problems, but it's not.
It just awakens a lot of problems that
it does. So
and she knew how to use this real good.
I don't even think she knew. I think it was just her being a normal Form 2, deciding to bully me, not knowing that she was opening up a can of worms.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I think it started this whole journey of therapy. But I only did it for a year, I guess, Form 1. Then came back. My mom has been very, very supportive, so she came back and was very loud about it. She was like, there is someone here who is not giving my child rest. And I shall not rest until my child has rest. So we had to sit down and had to find a workaround as to how we would both live in that school. But beyond that, I think it didn't go as far as or as bad as I've had people's stories, because I have had terrible stories. So it wasn't as bad, but bullying is still bullying. Yeah.
But they have a controversial question, and you can answer,
It's okay.
Or you can say, okay, maybe I have no just feel free. I've had, I don't know if it's because of cold or something, but I've had Loreto in Limuru. Sisi kwa sisi is very, very prominent, to an extent that I saw it in some papers some time back.
You did?
So I can't remember really well, and don't quote me, but is that an issue there?
References for that one.
Yeah. I have to be sure because at the end of the
Yeah,
day,
for
this
sure.
is on public domain. I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
not like to accuse a whole school
Of
or
doing
something that I
something.
can't really recall. But I feel like I saw something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe on social media. I'm not so sure where I saw this, but is that a problem there? Or not a problem? Like is
I was just
I don't
about to
want
ask
to
you.
call it a problem, but it's
It
not even a
was.
problem.
It was a thing. Yeah.
Oh, so
Full stop. Period.
Were you a victim or?
Oh no! Thank God, I was not a victim.
Yeah, because I heard also it goes even beyond that to cults, which is very serious. And I think it's about time we start talking about these things
Yeah.
because we cannot sit here and assume these things are not happening, especially in girls
sure.
and boys schools. Because I also understand as much as we are accepting and embracing them and now even calling them human rights for God's sake, they also traumatize people beyond people even commit suicide because what happens to you remains with you. It's something that actually you never even anticipated. You just went to school to learn.
Yeah.
Now all these things happen.
Yeah.
So what do you think we can do? Because some of us here will become parents in future and you would not wish that to your son or daughter. What do you think we can do about it? Should you allow people to be meeting in funkies more? Would that help?
I don't think beating is a solution.
No, I'm not
an
saying
alternate.
beat.
No. I'm
Okay.
getting there.
Oh.
I don't think beating is an ultimate solution. I was actually hearing if you're in the country, you know there has been a bill to reintroduce sex education within the current curriculum, and people are fighting it.
Yeah.
The church is fighting it.
Yeah.
Islams are fighting it. The religious community, let me put it that way, the religious community is fighting it. But we're not getting any moral as a society. If anything, we're getting even more immoral. So failing to have these discussions, because the thing is, for most of sex talk or like this understanding of who you are with regards to now that is usually left to your teachers, to class 6 biology or your biology class, right? No, never sits you down.
Yeah.
But the thing is, failing to talk about it does not solve the problem. The problem is already within the society.
Yeah.
Failing to talk about it it won't magically go away. And I think we have a tendency as especially Africans to sweep things under the rug and magically while them away and wait for them to one day disappear.
God will help us.
And God will help us. But I feel like it's very, very important to have these discussions from not just high school, but from an early
Even
age.
parents should actually rise to the occasion.
From
to some
home.
extent. Yeah.
It should start from home and then transition on to school. And we should not be afraid to have these discussions. I was listening to someone talking about how if you have a child who's on TikTok and past 9 p.m., it's just chaos,
Crazy, yeah.
right?
Is it true that
I actually it was uninstalled TikTok.
Yeah.
I got to a point where I was just like, I'm just wasting my time here. Exactly. It's an addiction I don't want to bear.
Yeah.
But if what people are saying is true, then you're imagining that this kid is being introduced to so much. And even the music we're listening to, even the movies we're watching, we're not becoming,
especially the movies.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
And the thing is, we're not becoming any moral. We're not becoming any better as a society. We'll always be degrading from time immemorial. We'll always become worse to the next generation. So parents talk about it.
Everyone should be able to
We should
address
be
it.
having these discussions.
Yeah, and I feel like we should talk about it from the point of truth and not imposing what you believe into someone else. And it should be okay to say that I don't want to have that discussion if that is available.
Yeah.
But of course, you should know the truth. The truth is that for sure most of us are here because of some of decisions that were made for a long time.
Right.
And which actually have been well documented why, and there are a couple of reasons around it. And there's a better way to look at it than we are looking at it right now. And I'm not saying I'm right, everyone else is wrong. I'm just saying we should be able to evaluate these soberly, and I'm sure not everyone will be like, and I've seen this actually even on Twitter. When some of these discussions are brought about, some of the definition have been changed on Google. Can you imagine that? Yeah. It's getting serious. So, yeah. If you're not aware, just check around. I don't want to get into it, but when time is right, I'll really go into like details. And one thing that I was discouraging is because it's a rat race and it has no end. Once you go in, you will not have an end. And you see, life has to be predictable in some way. Like at this point, this is what is expected of me, or I expect this of me. And from this point, this is what I want to see. And with that predictability, as much as the life is challenging by itself, then people have hope, and also they can actually solve problems as they go. Because also, even when you talk about youth, even beyond sex education, there's this expectation of like, I'm a graduate. I should be having a V8. I should be, when you see a good car, when you see a good building, anything you see, you want it to be yours. And in actuality, it can't. That's the truth. That's the fact. It can't change. And then that puts you in a place of depression, stress, resentment. And we expect Africans to be more productive than they are to be able to solve most of our problems. So it has to be an holistic approach. Now, before we go deep into this and we lose track, you get to Form 4. And you again have fun with the KCSE. How was that? Were you like, I'm ready? When I did my KCSE, and I'll share this from a personal point of view, I didn't think I was ready. But I had confidence that this one, whatever it is, it is what it is. Number one is because my first, I think, 2.5 years, it wasn't a good experience as I shared earlier. But the other 2 years, I saw it can be different. And I thank God for that experience, because one side is, okay, did I say I thank God? Yes, I thank God. So one side was like, there's no hope. And I know there are people who are in life, in that, even as you speak right now, they're in a place where they can't see tomorrow. They can't see what happened next. And then I go to this school and I'm like, it's possible. Actually, this can be done. It doesn't matter if I'm given 3 months or 4 months. That's why I was like, it's KCSE anyway. Right? It could be worse than this. Do you understand? Because here, we never actually got to a quarter a book of KIE math. There is no book that we finished in any particular class. Yes. But when we are hearing people in Alliance and other places finish their syllabus in first or second term in Form 3. And the rest of the time is just going through everything. And you are told, you know what? Everything will come from Form 1 and 2. Most of it, like 60 to 70% will come from Form 1 and 2. Why we didn't cover nothing. Now I said, okay, this could be worse. I'm here. I've seen it can be done. There are people who actually have done it. So for me, I was at least in a better position when I did my KCSE. Not that the perfect one, but in a better position. But what is it for you? And by the way, Sylvia, you can share yours.
I actually think she should go first. Tell us.
Yes. How was it for you with the KCSE?
KCSE was an interesting experience. I liked that the papers were well spaced, and I am part of Matiang's firstborns. So
it was tough.
No. So for our year, if you had KCSE made familiar, it was the equivalent of gold at that time.
True.
People used to pay premium.
Mine was stolen during that KCSE period. It was that bad because our papers were coming right from the past papers. So this was the time you've done them before, probably just as revision or exercise, but now they're bringing them from any of this. You have a whole book to go through. People would book that book and we'd go for tea break when someone is reading a question, a whole group, someone answers, we look at the answers. Because you don't have time to borrow. There are few. They're not there in the library anymore. Everyone has borrowed. It was insane. So that experience was quite something for us. We were selling KMF. People were buying them, sending teachers to buy them. It was insane. But
what is KMF?
KCSE Made Familiar. It's a book with all the past papers from 1990 something.
Is it like those books they create from Sunshine? Oh, these are separate ones.
Just KCSE questions.
Collection. Questions.
Yeah,
and it's now past subject. So you have the KMF math, you have all the past papers from around 80-something to the current, the most
last year.
So it's how your memory serves you.
It was all about memory. It was all cramming.
Yeah.
So it was a very beautiful period. I enjoyed it.
When I hear these experiences, I'm like, my life could have been different. For sure. Tell you what, I never saw most of these things.
No.
Yeah. The closest I come to like seeing things really make sense is Simuturi.
Simuturi.
Yes.
Solving problems.
No, math Simuturi.
Solving problems in math. Simuturi by Simuturi.